Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Patholkis, and this is His Dark Materials, Season 1, Episode 3, The Spies. Welcome, everybody. Um, sorry, I thought I had my mute button on there for a second on my headphones, so I didn't. Um, wow. It's been a really weird night. Honestly, I jumped like almost 40, almost 50 subs here since last night because of Mr. Robot. So I'm still a little bit discombobulated by that. And yeah, it's been kind of interesting and fun. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about his dark materials. Before I get started here, let me get some business out of the way first. If you like what you see here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Also, if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell. You have a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you when I'm on live, but that's the best you can do. Also, you can go to suspendedfanimation.com, take a look at my schedule up there. And it's also mirrored on my Facebook page. I also have a group Facebook page where you guys can post stuff and talk amongst yourselves. There's also a Twitter and Instagram and a Patreon page, but no tier set up as of yet. That will happen at the end of this year, beginning of next year. So let's get started, shall we? Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the shit out of the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video you can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. Yes, the new paddle. Let's see where we're at here. I'm actually going to get the chat up here too. So, as usual, what I do is I recap the episode and then I'm going to review it. So, for those of you who don't want to go through the recap again, you can skip to, I don't know, probably like 20 minutes in, and then you can get to the review of it, I guess. How's that sound? Hey, Stanley. So we end up, we're Lyra where we started off with, or we ended, I should say, last episode. Lyra in a net in the back of a van, and she's screaming bloody murder, of course. And the van stops, and the driver and the passenger get out, and they immediately get knocked around by a couple of Egyptians that have found the van, that were tailing the van, actually, because they heard screaming coming from the back of it. And the back of the van opens up and it's Tony, and Tony finds Lyra in the back there. So we see Mrs. Coulter in the meantime. She marches into Jordan with the troops and orders them to find something heretical or illegal, as she says, and starts ripping the place apart. And then she asks the master where Lyra is. And obviously he doesn't know where she is because he says, I left her with you. That was the whole point. Where the hell is she then at this point? And Mrs. Coulter does not have a high opinion of schools and learning, I guess you could say at this point, and is ripping apart the books. Yeah. And she had found a book on the ethiometer. By the way, I've been calling it a leviometer. It's actually ethiometer. Yeah, sorry. I haven't read the books, so I didn't know. And the British accent is a little off for me. I didn't have the subtitles on either. So, yes, but the way she pronounced it, where she phonetically just brought it out, ethiometer, I was like, oh, okay, thanks. I actually know what it is now. Thanks, Mrs. Coulter, for saying it that way. So, the ethiometer book that was found is illegal. And Mrs. Coulter says as much. And the master's like, we use that for, you know, for studies. It's not used for anything else. And she goes, where's the ethiometer at? And I want to know where it is. And finally, the master tells her that Lyra has it, that it was hers, it came with her, and it went with her. And Coulter, threatens to tear the school apart unless he tells her where Lyra is. And again, he still doesn't know where the hell she is. As he says, I left her in your charge. What happened to her? And so she tells the troops to start destroying everything, pretty much rip the place apart, which they do. Lyra, in the meantime, is riding with Tony back to the Egyptians in his boat there. And, he says they finally got a clue to where Billy is. And, they should use that. And Lyra agrees. And then she gets summoned to go and meet the Western King, who has some questions about where they were taking her. She obviously doesn't know where the hell they were taking her because she was in the back of a van. How is she supposed to know? It's kind of a stupid question, quite honestly. And he announces that they're going to keep her because they're going to keep her safe, and uh, they know that she's Lord Asriel's daughter, of course, as well. And she thinks that's the reason why they're keeping her, and they're like, no, it's because of who you are, and she's something special, but no one will say what the hell it is, why she's special. If it's a prophecy, if it's some lion flew down out of the sky and told them that. And yeah, it's just who knows. Yeah. uh Lyra can read the alethiometer without the books. What does it mean? Yeah, I know. I'll get to that in a second. So Carlo, in the meantime, meets up with a member of the church there, and it's told that Lyra was taken by the Egyptians, and he's not happy, of course, because she was supposed to be delivered to him pretty much at that point. And Lyra and Pan are still trying to figure out how the compass works. They keep popping the compass out every now and then to try and figure out how it works. When Ma Costa comes by and says, "You know what? Come with me into the kitchen. You're going to learn how to cook," kind of thing. And she goes, "I don't need to learn how to cook. Roger always cooked for me." She goes, "Well, there's more than working in the kitchen than just learning to cook. There's other things." And she shows her some tricks, and which, of course, we know is going to come in handy later on at some point in time. Carlo, in the meantime, slips back over to our world and finds he's got a boot on his car, which happens when you leave your car parked for days on time, at end, and get multiple tickets and never pay them. That's what ends up happening is you get a boot on your car and you can't drive anywhere. Sucks to be him. Wah wah. Yeah. Farter Corum. God, it's hard to actually say that name too. Is trying to persuade Lyra that they have her best intentions, her best interests at heart, and that they are not going to hurt her. That they are, and she goes, "That's what Mrs. Coulter told me too. So why should I trust you when when she did this?" And their talk turns to Damon's and them setting into their final form. And she says that she doesn't want Pan to settle into a final form. She wants Pan to be able to shift forever, pretty much, is what she says. And we find out also that Damon's essentially, if you don't like the final form of your Damon, it's something that you don't like about yourself, is what it is. There's something unsettled about you, kind of thing, which I thought was kind of interesting that they're still doing a little bit of world building in this as they're moving the plot along. Watchmen. That's all I'm going to say. This is what's nice about this is they're actually giving us insights as into this world as well as moving the plot along. I'm kind of liking that. Yes, it is good writing. I agree with you. There still is some stuff that is very British and very BBC about it. I know it's a BBC production, and there's some things I'm just kind of like, yeah, you could edit that out. You could tighten that up a little bit, but it's nitpicks for the most part. For the most part, it's actually fairly good. Um, so he asks her, if she wants to go down and see the man who took her, and of course, she goes down there and is watching him being interrogated by Benjamin. And he asks her if it's okay, and she's like, "Yeah, that's fine," because he was going to do a lot worse to the kids, is what she says. So Carlo, in the meantime, gets his car. I guess gets the boot off of his car and drives out to meet Thomas, who has done a little facial recognition software work and finds out that Asriel, I believe it was. So it was kind of weird. We had a picture of Asriel on one side, and we had some other guy that obviously was not him on the left hand side. And they were saying it was the same guy, and that he was born in this world, but crossed over into their world. And they were saying like, how does he have a daemon then at that point? And no one really knows. So he was a colonel in the army, so his files were hidden, and so it's a little harder to actually get to. And then Thomas finds out that there is another woman, his wife, and he has a child that he left in our world, because I assume that's what this is, or Thomas is in our world. And then he gives Carlo the hard copy of all this information, and Then Carlo wonders aloud why Thomas never followed him to his world. He goes, You knew where I was going. You know how to follow me and all that stuff." And then he surmises it's because Thomas is afraid. And Thomas confirms it and goes, "Yeah, I don't want to go. I'm afraid," which is perfectly fine. Yeah. Oh, it was the guy whose head they buried. Okay, thank you, Stanley. That was the one thing I kind of missed what was going on there. So, all right. So, Grumman, uh, whose head was actually not of their world, he was of our world. He was a colonel. Got it. Thank you. That was the one thing I missed. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Why there was two different pictures there, and it was not. It wasn't clicking for me. So it might have been I was taking notes and I looked down at the wrong time, and yeah. So the Egyptians, in the meantime, find out that they're taking the kids to the north, and Lyra says, Mrs. Coulter has papers in her office that they need to go and find, and Farter's like, no way in hell are we going to send our guys over there to Mrs. Coulter's, room to get this stuff. And before the argument can ensue, an alarm goes off. We hear like a boat siren outside. And that's when the magisterium is coming, and they're going on board the ship to go and look for Lyra. And she's been hidden behind some cupboards. We have a dog, Damon, that goes down there. He's sniffing her out, and he's almost got to where she's at. And finally, they're like, "Nope, she's not here. Let's leave. Let's go further on down the river." And so they leave. Mrs. Coulter, in the meantime, was sitting in Lyra's room, and she's kind of stroking the bed there, and she's getting a little bit pissed off. And finally, her monkey comes in the room, is looking at her too, and she just starts shredding the bed. I mean, just shredding the shit out of that bed. And the monkey quietly closes the door to the bedroom to let her, he's in there with her though, of course. So, yeah. So Lyra comes out of the closet there, from behind the cupboard, and is yelling that Mrs. Coulter will always be looking for her. Why should she stay with them? She's putting everybody in danger. Not only that, they're putting her in danger. She's better off on her own. And she's basically yelling to Ma Costa about this. And she goes, "Why should I trust you when no one will tell me the truth about what's going on?" And Ma Costa finally tells her, "All right, you want the truth? Mrs. Coulter's your mother." "What?" "Yeah, Mrs. Coulter's your mother. And Azrael had an affair with her. And when you were born, Coulter's husband decided to go and kill you because that was his right by the magisterium. He could go and kill you. And Azrael found him, stopped him. They got into a fight, and Azrael killed Mr. Coulter. And as a result of that, he got his title stripped from him and all his money taken from him as well. And Lyra was sent to a nunnery, is what was happened. And Azrael went and got her out of the nunnery and took her to Jordan College. And Ma Costa says, "We should have done something then, but I'm going to help you now." It's like, fuck, man, really? Better late than never. So, yeah, no one's telling her anything except after the fact. It's like, what good are keeping these secrets? What are you guys waiting for? You waiting for the second coming? You waiting for a great ball from the sky to tell you? I don't know. I just thought it was stupid. That why would you keep that kind of secret from this kid who's obviously asking the same question over and over again? Just tell her. Yes, I know it's supposed to be part of the plot, but still, it pisses me off. So Mrs. Coulter is back in the apartment there. She's walking along the balcony railing. Remember, she said she was scared of not scared of heights, but she was always tempted to jump, is what it was. And we see her almost fall a couple times as she's doing it. And then she sits down, straddles the railing there, and ends up opening a box and pulls out these two metallic bugs, which are spy flies, is what they're called, and they fly off. Carlo, in the meantime, hires a guy to watch Grumman's wife and child. Yeah. Yeah, bitches be crazy. Exactly. Viking bitch. I agree with you. So the Western King ends up holding a meeting with the Egyptians to tell them that, they should deal with the gobblers themselves, because obviously the magisterium is not going to do it for them. And Raymond, the guy who's got the little flipper arm, says, he objects to it and he goes, why? He goes, they're not bothering us. He goes, they only want one thing. They want an outsider, someone who's not even one of ours. Why are we protecting them? He's talking about Lyra, of course. He's not even mentioning her name. And he's standing pretty much right next to her and won't even look at her. And basically says, yeah, let's toss her out, throw her to the wolves. And everyone else starts getting up in arms. They're like, that's right. That's what we should do. Kill her, kill the witch, burn her. Uh, and that's when Lyra's like, you know what? You're right. It doesn't matter what happens to me. She goes, but you guys need to fight the gobblers, is what she says, because no one else is going to do it. And they're just going to keep taking your children over and over again. And no one's going to do anything about it. So you should do it yourself. And everyone's like, the little girl's got a point. All right. You know, yes, let's fight. Let's fight. Yeah, all right. It reminded me of an episode of The Simpsons where the town mob gets turned one way and then turns the other way. It really did remind me of that. I started laughing kind of. The Western King, in the meantime, says they're going to go to the north and fight. And I want the best fighters from each household. I want to take your children and bring them to the north. We might not come back, but I want to take your children with me. And maybe we can get the witches to help us too. But it's not a guarantee. But hey, what the hell? Let's see if we can get the witches to help us too. And he leads them in a rousing speech, ending with them chanting Egyptians, 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 yeah. USA. US. Like I said, it reminded me of an episode of The Simpsons. I don't know why, but it was very, very close. So Benjamin ends up sneaking off the ship at night, and Lyra's still up and she's trying to figure out how to work the compass when she runs into Tony Costa. And he's sneaking out as well. And she's like, what are you doing? And he goes, no, don't mind anything. Just go back to sleep. And she goes, no, no, no. You tell me what's going on or I'm going to scream my fucking head off. And he says, well, me and Benjamin are going out. We're going to go over to Mrs. Coulter's. We're going to grab the paper. She says, okay, well, here's where it's at. It's in her study, in the top left hand, the top right hand drawer. Go and find it and come on back. Thanks. Bye. Kind of thing. And I won't say anything to anybody. That's what she says. So they end up leaving. So Lyra, in the meantime, is still messing with the compass and she gets it to move a little bit by making her mind go blank. And as Pan says, you're really good at that. You should do that a lot more often. Let your mind go blank, and she does, and it gets to move again. And that's when she ends up falling asleep. And Ma Costa wakes up, or excuse me, she doesn't fall asleep. Excuse me. Ma Costa wakes up to find Tony gone. And we also see Tony and Benjamin breaking into Coulter's apartment, going through the elevator shaft. So we're cutting back and forth between Ma Costa looking around for Tony and Tony and Benjamin breaking into Mrs. Coulter's study. And they get in there and they find the pages, and Tony stuffs one into his pocket, and the monkey pops out of the fucking vent like it normally does, jumps down the table and screams bloody murder. And they take off. They start running. And Mrs. Coulter comes out with a fucking big gun and starts shooting. Tony is smart and runs straight into the bedroom, that was Lyra's old room there, and jumps out the window onto the ledge. Benjamin, in the meantime, gets shot, brought down. He gets shot in the shoulder there. And, Tony's escaping. He's trying to go along the ledge there. And Coulter, he tries to get away from Coulter, from Mrs. Coulter, and she takes him down and starts beating on him like a monkey, pretty much is what she does. She's using her fists and just swinging him down and straddling him. And we see her monkey has grabbed his daemon as well and has it by the throat. And she says, I can do some really bad things. You tell me who sent you, Egyptian boy. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And the monkey's squeezing his daemon harder and harder by the throat. And you can hear him kind of wheezing. And finally, he kicks her off and goes to the elevator shaft and basically tells her, he goes, he betrays his family for no one. And he just falls backwards into the elevator shaft. and she screams, and we see his daemon go up in a puff of smoke, in dust. And yeah, he dropped down the elevator shaft and kills himself. And she screams out at that point. Yeah, the daemons just dissolve. So Ma Acosta, in the meantime, is grilling Lyra on where the fuck Tony is at this point, and she won't say. And Farder Coram is shown the alethiometer there, and uh, he kind of basically Lyra shows it to him. She goes, "You know what? I can trust you now at this point." And she shows it to him, and he goes, "I've never seen one of those." He goes, "But I heard that you move a couple of symbols here and there, and he goes, it takes books in order to get this thing to work, and years of practice and books with it." And he takes off to go and find out where the hell Tony is at this point. And she ends up trying to use the compass again. And she goes, "Okay, well, maybe if I set this dial here," and so she sets one arm to the snake for a spy, the crucible for knowledge, and then I forget what the final one was, and then makes her mind go blank, and the compass starts working. It just starts spinning, and it goes onto a excuse me, a now I'm just blanking on it. Sand thingy. Oh my god. Basically has a skull on it, and basically he's running out of time, is what it says. Yeah. Um, I just blanked. Hourglass. Thank you. My God. Thanks, Pen. My brain all of a sudden just broke on that one. An hourglass with a skull on top of it. Thank you. It takes a village sometimes. And she's worried about what the hell's that's going to mean, right? And she runs outside screaming to Farter that she knows that she got the compass to work. And as she's running out there, the spy flies come by and see her. And she's trying to get one. Pan's trying to get the other one. She finally gets one of them, steps on it. Coram puts the cup on top of one, and the other one that Pan was trying to get flies away. And he's like, "That's it. She knows where we're at. And we need to go to the north now," is what Coram says. He's like, "Fuck this. We're going to the north." And that's when Tony finally comes back, and he's got the page with the children's names on it. Billy's name is on it at this point. They know the children have gone, have been taken to the north. And John gets word that Benjamin has died in the process, of course, of getting this paper back. And Farter's like saying, "We can go and get his body back." And he's like, "No, she's got the body. We're not doing that. We need to go to the north." And he also tells John at this point that Lyra can read the compass without books. And they're like, "Okay, set sail, let's go." And Lyra, in the meantime, is as they're chugging out there, she's going to throw the tin box with the spy fly in it out into the water. And Makasa's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I was going to toss it in the water." And she goes, "That's a soul. It could be a tainted soul, but still, it's a soul in there. That's a wrong thing to do." She goes, "Just weld it shut and have it welded shut, and everything will be good. And you should be, you know, your mom basically broke the law in order to find you." Is what she did. She's that frustrated now at this point because spy flies are illegal in the magisterium. And so she says, that's what is it? She says it's I forget what it was now at this point, but basically you should be not honored, but realizing that she's that desperate now to find you, that she's breaking the law. Carlo comes by Mrs. Coulter's place and sees that there's more guards, of course, put into place. And he says to Mrs. Coulter, he's like, "So what's going on? You have some more guards here?" She's like, "Yeah, it was needed." And just then the spy fly flies in and lands on her hand. She goes, "Now we know where she is." He goes, "Is that a spy fly?" And he knows now that she's actually broken the law at this point. Yeah. It's only illegal if you're caught, which of course Carlo just has caught her. And that's where we leave off on the episode. So people going to the north. Pretty much everyone's going north now, but they're not going to Alaska. They're just going north. Yeah. Your mom broke the law because she loves you in some twisted, controlling way. Exactly. Like, as you said before, bitches be crazy. Yes. Um, Good episode. Like I said, we got a lot more world building going on. I like I said, I found the whole town hall meeting thing very Simpson-esque, and it made me laugh. It really did. The or before that, Blazing Saddle-esque. Howard Johnson is right. Give the governor a harumph. And it just kind of made me laugh. I know it wasn't supposed to be funny, but it was in an existential way. Um, and I also found it funny that Carlo comes out into our world and he's got a boot on his car because he didn't pay his tickets. I mean, what the fuck was he expecting? You know? Some thoughts need a midwife. Thanks, Stanley. Yeah. So does my brain sometimes. Um, a tainted soul inside a little robot bug. I can see why it's illegal. Yeah, exactly. Because it's not organic either. So, where are we going with this? Well, of course, we're leading to the armored bears now. We get the armored bears next episode, and we get uh Lin Manuel, right? Is what we're getting. Is that what's going on now? Yeah. So, yeah. I'm just scrolling up here. I'm taking a look at what you guys are talking about in the chat. Well, would you want to know that Mrs. Coulter was your mother? Not really. Although, my mom maybe was just a little tiny. No, um, it says a lot about Mrs. Coulter that she hurts her own demon. Well, she likes to spank her monkey, which I'm pretty sure she is not of this world either. She or not of their world. She's of our world. Is what I'm thinking. That's the reason why she could be so far away from her monkey. Touch my monkey. Probably makes her feel like a little girl in spring. He probably found a way to snake out of the ticket. Oh, Stanley, you go into the corner for that joke. You really do. You're almost as bad as Apple Crow with those jokes. And Ejar as well. I mean, come on. Here's a Laurel and Hardy handshake. Yes, I know. Yeah, Blazing Saddles is one of my favorite movies. It is so un-PC. It would never, ever in a million years get made nor released in today's world. But yeah. But Spanker Monkey is okay. Yeah, Spanking a Monkey is good. Yeah. Put the bunny down. Let's see what else we got. Hourglass. Yes. My brain fart. I love a good parallel dimension story, is what Viking Bitch says. I have I have 3 parallel dimension stories that I'm covering right now. So it's this one, it's Watchmen, and it's Mr. Robot. There are 3 parallel dimension stories. And if you think about it, I was actually just thinking about this last night. There are a lot of parallel dimension stories that have been coming out just in the last 4 years or so, 3-4 years. I mean, within a short amount of time. I mean, we also have The Man in the High Castle, which is a parallel dimension story, which just ended with the biggest what the fuck kind of ending that you could get, because I was like, what the fuck does this mean? And what else? Yeah, and Mr. Robot is sci-fi. Yes, it is, Stanley. You're just wrong. That's all. Now is the time for parallel dimensions. Possibly, I guess so. But yeah, I don't know. Of course, The Mandalorian is not parallel dimension. It just takes place in a galaxy far, far away. And Titans is just, bad writing. Yeah. Are they softening up the public for a disclosure? I doubt it, EJAR. This must be an ongoing argument between you two. What you mean that Mr. Robot is not sci-fi? Yes, it is. Viking bitch. It's no, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, not. Yes, it is. Yeah. Sorry, wrong channel. Oh, for that one, man. I don't know if I should put you on timeout for that one. Nah, it's okay. There was an attempt at humor. Yeah, it is a very grown-up debate. That's what it gets down to. So, I'm interested to see where this is going, quite honestly. It's piqued my interest. Like I said, there's some things in this that are very British, and, I'm not a big fan of a lot of British shows, things like that. It's, I can watch them, but, there's some stuff that I don't know, it kind of, hinges on a lot of pomp and circumstance, as I found, and, whereas in the United States, we kind of get rid of some formalities of some things, but I know that's what the British shows have is they have that formalities, and that's why we get crappy writing like in Watchmen. Um, I'm not an Anglophile. No, I'm not. HR. Are you a Britishish? No, I'm not a Britishish. Yeah, I know you beast. I know. My God. Uh, you know, they just never really did it for me. Except for The Prisoner. The Prisoner was actually a good British series. Growing up, that one I loved. Don't ask me why. Just well, I know why because it was very twisted and weird and just far whacked out story that I've never seen nor will ever see something like that probably ever again. Dennis will enjoy the bears. He will feel a kinship. Oh, really? I'm not a bear, Viking bitch. So, no, that's not something I. Twisted and weird describes 90% of us here. Yeah. White Claw, Stanley Tweedle? No, that's a millennial thing. Oh, God. And as usual, things devolve. Where's Joe at to scream out Jokerisms while we're at it? Not Joe Greer. I'm talking about Joe. Man. John Drake equals secret agent man. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if number 6 is John Drake or secret agent man. So I think you may have scared him away. No, I put him on timeout last night and they took him off timeout right afterwards. So he's free to come in. He's free to come in and chat. He just needs to calm down a little bit. That's all. So if you like what you see here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, like, share, and subscribe. I did Joker block him. Yeah. There was just too much of it that was going on, quite honestly. If like, share, and subscribe. If you want to know when I'm be on live again next, hit the bell down below. You can, if you already hit the bell, don't hit it again. It will unclick the bell. You can go into the bell settings, get as many or as little notifications as you want. If you really want to know when I'm on, because that way only gives you a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you when I'm on, you can go to my website, suspendedfanimation.com, and take a look at the schedule up there. I just changed it out today. I change it out every Monday. I also post it up on my Facebook page as well. Speaking of Facebook, there is a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and talk amongst yourselves. So if I'm not doing it for you, you can also talk amongst yourselves on that page if you've got the Facebook going on. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, I also have a Patreon page, but I don't have any tiers set up as of yet, but I will at the end of this year, beginning of next year, when I got some stuff to give you. So Facebook equals evil. Some people seem to think so. Um, quite honestly, it's only as evil as the amount of information that you give them. If you don't give them all the correct information, they don't have any power over you. That's all it is. Yes, I want to say thank you to everyone who signed up as well. Thank you for reminding me, Pen. Uh, it's over 500 subs now, which is fucking awesome. Uh, Thank you to everyone who joined up. I know we all kind of bonded over last night's catharsis of Mr. Robot and what happened in that 5-act play that happened. It scarred a lot of us, quite honestly, and a lot of people need to talk about it. Is what it was. There's over 120 comments on that on that video alone, just because there is, there was a lot of talking that needed to be done, quite about it. Yeah. I think it's almost up to 4,000 views right now too, which is really kind of frightening, considering that it's only been, a little less than 24 hours now, I believe. Yeah, less than 24 hours and almost 4,000 views. Uh, so yeah, it's kind of creepy for me too, because that's the first I've had that happen, and it's nice, but also it's one of those things you're like, oh wow, kind of stunned at the same time, you know. Uh, Staley Tweedle says, enjoy the influx of new subscribers. Mr. Robot seems to bring the views. Yeah, it's just that people are really into the show. You're either really into it or you're really not into it. It's one of the two. And those people that are into it just don't complain about Watchmen. No, really. Hey, I kept the complaining down quite a bit in this last one, but still, I had one viewer who is like, so you got to pick on the Rorschach thing. That's a nitpick because Looking Glass ends up pulling up his mask and he's eating beans out of the can like Rorschach from the comic to show us that that he's supposed to be similar to Rorschach in a way. And I was like, I really didn't need that. That just kind of threw me out of the show at that point. And sure, it was a little bit of a nitpick, but it was one of those things that, yeah, it threw me out of the show. And yeah, he just doesn't get it exactly. And so the same guy, he keeps coming back to just to kind of, I guess criticize me about stuff. And yeah, you know, Rorschach had a death wish yeah, he did. He really did. But yeah, I'm enjoying Mr. Robot, quite honestly. Mr. Robot is a lot of fun, but it's also devastating too at the same time. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it's a fan. It's someone who just really likes to bust my balls, I think is all it is. And usually you pay extra for that, but so I get it for free. I guess I should be, grateful for that one, I guess. Viking Bitch says, I think it's funny that someone is hate watching your reviews. He might, Viking Bitch, we don't know. Stalker trolls. It's a stalker troll. That's what it is. Hashtag stalker troll. Oh man. Yeah. So what's going on? I am off tomorrow because The Mandalorian is not on Tuesdays, it's on Fridays. So that fucks me over. Yes, it is a he, according to the name. It could be a she, who knows? Could be an it, could be a they, could be a them, it could be the royal we. So yeah. I'm off Tuesday, I'm off Wednesday, and I'm off on Thursday. So I'm off for 3 whole days. Yeah, that's right. Are you guys gonna be able to survive without me? Hopefully, because you're gonna have to anyway. I come back on Friday. I know, 3 days off, exactly. But I come back Friday blazing with The Mandalorian and Titans, because I only have 2 episodes of Titans left. So don't do the damn hashtag drop Titans, because it's not gonna happen. I've got 2 episodes left, and that's what I'm doing. Um, Saturday is gonna be Saturday morning blast off. Yes, it's back to mornings this week. Sunday, of course, we roll back around again to Mr. Robot and Watchmen. Thanks, HR. I kind of figured it was going to happen. And of course, we roll back around to Monday with his Dark Materials. So lots of good stuff coming up here. Also, I was taking a look, and December 16th is going to be my 1 year anniversary. My 1 year anniversary of being with the channel here, of starting the channel here. So I will do a special 1 year anniversary thing. Even though it is a Monday, it's during his Dark Materials. I'll do one after his Dark Materials. I think that'll do. Yeah. A retrospective, maybe it's just to be a free for all kind of thing, a thank you to everybody, that kind of stuff. So yeah. I mean, come on, over 500 subs in a year, that's not bad. I'm happy with it. I didn't set any goals on it, to tell you the truth, as to when I started this. I was just doing it for fun. But I was pleasantly surprised, quite honestly, that I've got 500 subs in a year. That's amazing, quite honestly. Titans is better than Cloak and Dagger. Well, yeah, Titans is better than Cloak and Dagger because they're not canceled, unlike Cloak and Dagger. Did you ever watch Upgrade? You're talking about the movie Upgrade? I did watch the movie Upgrade, if that's what you're talking about, Joker. Or are you talking about something else that I might have forgotten about? You got to type faster, man. Type fast. Oh, yeah, I did see the movie Upgrade. Yes. It was okay. Took me 2 weeks to find out. We weren't last. Took me 2 weeks to find out where I went. Oh, last December. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Upgrade was a little bit, okay. I mean, there was some weird stuff to it, but it was low budget, so I understood where they were going with it. It was fine for what it was. Where I went, that's how I got Stanley. Yeah, I kind of figured that's where you're going. Drop Batwoman. Yeah, I did that already, Jar. I honestly haven't watched the CW in a little while. Kind of afraid to see where it is. Yeah. I honestly haven't missed it, to tell you the truth. Batwoman was bad. It's some bad stuff. It really is. Yeah. Arrow was off last week. Yeah. I haven't watched that. I haven't watched Flash. Quite honestly, if when Legends comes back on, that's what I'll watch. Legends of Tomorrow is actually a lot of fun. But yeah, the other ones have just gotten kind of except for Doom Patrol. DC is dead to me. So it's Swamp Thing was good, man. Swamp Thing was good, and I'm looking forward to this animated Harley Quinn, to tell you the truth. Excuse me, the R-rated. Well, I'm going to do Infinite Crisis. So Infinite Crisis is spread over 4 weeks and over 2 months, essentially, too. It's so it's going to be kind of hard to do. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let it play out, and then I'm going to do a one recap on it at the end. Is what I'll do, instead of doing it week by week. Yeah. So I think that will actually work for Infinite Crisis. Because quite honestly, you can watch it on their CW app for free. CW Minute, Feelings in Hallways. Maybe I'll revive Feelings in Hallways for one last go. And DC, an animated DC, what am I, 12? It's got swearing in it and probably nudity. You draw boobies at home, don't you, Stanley? Swamp Thing was a giant tease with no climax. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that too, Penn, to see all the Supermans. I want to see Brandon Routh's Kingdom Come version of Superman, who is right back here, by the way. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of my favorite versions of Superman. Quite honestly, my art skills are not good enough. So they look like coconuts, is what you're saying, Stanley? Or do they look like bowling balls? Um, Penn Farm Girl says, "You know how on board I am for Brandon back in the Cape." Yeah, yeah. I, so he kind of had a little falling out with the CW, from what I understand. So he and his wife, and they kind of were unceremoniously booted from Legends of Tomorrow, which I kind of thought was stupid. But he's being a good sport about it right now. But yeah, you can tell he's kind of hurt about it. And it's once again, it's Warner Brothers kicking him in the teeth. Yeah. Classic spin of animation with the throwback CW minute for the win. I don't want the CW minute. They didn't shrink him out. They just booted him. Yeah. Because you know that he and his wife, they Nora, she plays Nora on Legends of Tomorrow. They're married in real life. So I mean, and they're both getting booted at the same time, which is kind of fucked up. Brandon Routh is not the reason I watch it. It's Mick, quite honestly, to see how much booze Mick can drink and then just badmouth the shit out of people without getting smacked in the face for it. To tell you the truth, that's kind of what I watch it for. Because Mick, I feel, is kind of like the rest of us that watch the regular CW shows and go, "What the fuck is this shit?" You know? Yeah, Constantine is good too. I mean, he's been a little bit more of a caricature though of what he used to be, and so I'm kind of disappointed in that. But yeah, yes, Mick is the Prison Break brother of Wentworth Miller's. Yeah, Mr. Freeze or Cold, Mr. Captain Cold. Excuse me, Mr. Freeze. I got Captain Cold right next to Mr. Freeze right here. So that's Mr. Freeze. That's Captain Cold. In case you guys are wondering. So yeah, you even bought the lighter. Which lighter is that? Felix lighter? Wait, no, that's something else altogether. Oh, the Prison Break lighter. Got it. Yeah. But I did like Rory from Doctor Who. Oh yeah. Yeah. I knew he wasn't coming back. Quite honestly. Oh, Constantine Zippo. I've got a Hellboy Zippo someplace around here with a little leather carrying case as well to put on my belt. Yeah. So, but we're talking about his dark material here, and I've gone so far off the rails at this point. I am out in the woods someplace with Sherpas and penguins at this point. So, thank you everybody who joined me tonight in the chat. And thank you out there if you made it this far through this rambly mess at the end. I will see you again on Friday for the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda and some Titans. We'll see where the Titans go this time around because we're not seeing Nightwing until the very end. We're not going to see Nightwing until episode 13. And then it's going to be I'm Nightwing and then cut to black is what's going to happen with Titans. So until then, thank you, everybody. Thank you to everybody who subbed again. Like I said, it's very humbling. It really is, quite honestly. Yes, there are going to be a lot more dick jokes, by the way, on Titans, because that's just the way Titans is rolling right now, is a lot more dick jokes. I kind of went overboard on the dick jokes this last week, so I might have to just tone it down just a little bit, because, yeah, there was just, I was a little bit hard on the dick jokes there. But they came fast and furious too. That's enough, really. It really is. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again on Friday. Uh, until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, Mrs. Coulter will send her monkey after you. And you know how much he likes to be spanked. So, not a good thing. Thanks, everybody. I will talk to you later. Have a good night.